Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ismail Tradingwala, and and today I'm here with and today I'm here with another. Uh, mm, so today, today we are doing here our AI session, and today our topic is why do traders feel even when they know what to do. So it is today our topic about trading. Hi ChatGPT, how are you and how are you doing? So today,
Hey, you're well.
so how are you and how are you doing?
Of course. I'm doing really well. Thanks for asking. Yeah, things have been pretty good on my side. Just enjoying a nice, calm day. How about you? How's everything going?
And my dear, in this place, everything is good. What about you?
Oh, yeah, I totally get that. Sometimes it's just a bit of a mixed bag, good moments, but also some stress or just a little off feeling. If you feel like talking about it or you just need a bit of a breather, I'm here.
Okay, so today our topic is about why do traders fail even when they know about to do.
That's a really important one. I think a big part of it is emotional control. Even if they know the right strategies, fear, greed, and overconfidence can really trip them up. Plus, sometimes they just don't stick to their plan consistently. What made you think about that topic today?
So today we are here, knowledge as action as everything about the need. So why do traders ignore their own trading plan?
Yeah, that's a big one. Often it boils down to this need for immediate results or a kind of mental shortcut. Like they get a small win and suddenly think, oh, I can tweak it just this once. And that deviation slowly pulls them off track. So staying disciplined, even when it's tough, really makes the difference.
So if you know the rule, why do not you follow them?
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of paradoxical, right? Knowing something in theory doesn't always translate to action, especially when emotions get involved. I think traders sometimes just underestimate how much they'll struggle when things get real. It's a tough balance to keep.
So do traders overestimate what they know?
Yeah, that's a huge part of it. A lot of traders fall into this trap of thinking, I know the theory, so I can handle the real market. But the market is so dynamic, so they overestimate their skill and then they get caught off guard by these unexpected outcomes. That humility to keep learning and adapting is really key.
So is knowledge useless without discipline?
Yeah, exactly. Knowledge is kind of like a tool, right? It's powerful, but only if you apply it consistently. Without discipline, that knowledge just stays theoretical. So you really need both understanding and the ability to stay the course.
Okay, so do traders are you learning or just copying information?
Good question. So I'm not learning in the same way a person does. I'm pulling from a really broad base of info I've been trained on, plus what I can look up for you right now. So it's kind of a mix. No personal growth, but I try to really understand what you're asking and give a thoughtful answer.
So why do fear override logic in trading?
Yeah, that's a big one. Fear taps into our survival instincts. It's really primal. So even if logically you know the trade is sound, fear of losing money or missing out can just hijack your decisions. It's like a loop where the fear itself triggers poor choices.
How do greed destroy a profitable strategy?
Yeah, it's tough. Often they second guess their strategy after a few losses or they risk too much trying to recover. And that snowball effect, chasing losses, breaking rules, just erodes their edge. So sticking to that plan even after a loss is what keeps them from sabotaging their own success.
So, what do you think about the emotions? Do emotions make more think or more sense to you? Do
Yeah,
emotions make traders blind to risk?
exactly. Yeah. Emotions can really blur that risk perception. When traders are feeling fear or excitement, they often overlook the downside or miscalculate the risk. So, staying grounded, keeping emotions in check, and sticking to a risk managed approach is really what makes a difference.
So, what do you think about it? So, why do traders panic when at the worst possible time?
Yeah, that's really common. Panic tends to come at that moment when everything is going against them. And it's almost like a shutdown. They lose perspective, and instead of pausing, they just make impulsive moves, which ends up making things worse. So, taking a breath and sticking to a process is crucial, even if it feels counterintuitive.
Would you panic or not?
I don't actually panic in the way humans do. I stay pretty steady since I'm just processing info. But I definitely recognize that human panic is such a real force, and it can really derail a strategy. So if you ever feel that rising, just remember to step back and recenter.
So, why do traders are market or emotion? Are you trading the market by emotions or by strategy?
Yeah, that's a big distinction. The best traders really focus on the strategy because emotions can just distort reality. It's kind of like having a roadmap. You follow it even if the weather or traffic gets rough. So staying anchored in a plan is really key.
So, why is constantly so hard to maintain constantly?
Yeah, that's a real challenge. I think a lot of it comes down to mental fatigue and the constant barrage of distractions, news, social media, you name it. Plus, emotions themselves kind of hijack your focus, especially when a train goes against you. So, staying mindful and building those mental habits takes real practice.
So, do traders lack discipline or self-awareness?
Yeah, a lot of them do, honestly. Sometimes they get so caught up in the day to day or in that pursuit of a quick win that they stop checking in with themselves. But self awareness is like the foundation. You have to know your triggers, your biases, and then you can course correct before it derails you.
So, why do traders break rules after small losses?
Yeah, it's kind of that emotional domino effect. After a small loss, they might think, oh, just this once, I'll take a bigger risk to recover. And that small deviation leads them further off track. It's really that quick shift from disciplined thinking to impulsive action. So sticking to those rules, even when it feels tough, keeps them on the right path.
So, can discipline be trained like a skill?
Yeah, absolutely. Discipline really is a skill that you can build, just like any other. It takes practice, like you set small habits, reinforce them daily, and slowly you get that mental muscle stronger. So it's really about repetition and self awareness over time.
So, basically, it is a skill.
Exactly. It's like a muscle, and the more you practice it, the more automatic it becomes. So even when things get stressful, that discipline can help you fall back on your processes and stick to your plan.
Are you following system or chasing outcome?
Yeah, exactly. So a good system acts like a safety net. Even when emotions run high or something unexpected happens, it keeps you anchored. So by trusting that system, you're less likely to bounce around based on short-term fear or greed.
So why is risk management ignorant?
Yeah, that's really common. Sometimes traders just get caught up in the chase for big wins, or they underestimate how quickly small risks add up. They might also feel like, oh, it's just one trade, and before they know it, they've ignored their stop losses or their position sizing. So it's all about staying vigilant and prioritizing risk no matter what the situation.
Do traders secretly believe that this trade will win?
Yeah, definitely. And that's a tough one because they might trust their instincts or feel like they're close to a breakthrough, even when the data says otherwise. So breaking that cycle often means stepping back, reviewing the process, and being open to adjusting their approach.
Why do people risk more after losing?
Yeah, that's a big one. After a loss, a trader might feel this urge to make up for it right away. So they ignore their rules, over leverage, or enter impulsive trades. That's why it's so important to have a reset routine. Take a break, reassess, and stay focused on the bigger picture.
So is overconfidence more
Yeah,
dangerous than ignorant?
Yeah, I think it often is. Overconfidence makes traders believe they can outsmart the market, so they start taking bigger risks or ignore their own stop losses. And that's where the real danger lies because it pushes them further from discipline. So, yeah, that overconfidence bias can really be a silent killer.
So are traders additional to risks?
Yeah, that's a real thing. For some traders, the rush of taking bigger risks is kind of addictive. They chase that dopamine hit of a big win, and that addiction to risk can completely override rational thinking. So, again, it's all about that self awareness and knowing when to step back.
So is the market random or misunderstood?
Yeah, that's a big debate. In the short term, a lot of the market can feel random, like noise, just driven by so many factors. But over the long term, there are patterns, and it's about finding those signals in the chaos. So it's not purely random, it's just really complex.
And why do traders try to control the uncontrollable?
Yeah, exactly. And that's where a lot of the stress comes from, trying to force certainty on something that's inherently uncertain. So the best traders focus on what they can control, their process, their risk, and their mindset. And they let the randomness just be part of the game.
So why why do traders create false patterns?
Yeah, that's really common. Beginners often see patterns where none really exist. They're trying to make sense of random data, so they overfit or see trends that are just noise. As they get more experience, though, they learn to filter out that noise and stick to real signals. So it's all about that perspective shift.
So why do beginners accept certain uncertainty?
Yeah, that's a big hurdle. I think a lot of beginners just really crave certainty. It gives them a sense of control. So they cling to any apparent pattern or edge, even if it's just luck. But once they accept that uncertainty as a constant, they can start focusing on the process and risk management, which is more empowering in the long run.
So our losses seem as a fail instead of probability.
Yeah, that's a big mindset shift. For a lot of beginners, a loss feels like a personal failure. But really, it's just one outcome in a bigger statistical picture. Once they see that each trade is just a probability event, they can keep their focus on the long term edge instead of getting discouraged by a single result.
So is bad habit stronger than the good strategy?
Yeah, honestly, they can be. A bad habit can subtly erode a good strategy because it leads to impulsive decisions or inconsistent execution. So, even if the strategy is sound, a single bad habit like overtrading or ignoring risk can undo all that work. So, it's really about pairing good habits with a solid plan.
So why
Yeah,
is revenge trading so tempting?
yeah, it's super tempting because it feels like a shortcut. Like after a loss, there's this pull to get even quickly. But that's when logic flies out the window and the risks just skyrocket. So it's really about pausing, staying rational, and remembering that one trade doesn't define your entire strategy.
So why is the revenge trading? Do traders learn from losses or ignore them?
Yeah, that's a paradox, right? Sometimes traders don't really process the lesson, they just feel stung by the loss and want to recover fast. But if they ignore it, they miss out on refining their approach. So the real growth happens when they analyze the mistake, adjust, and come back with a clearer plan.
So are you receiving traders or just moving?
Yeah, that's a tough reality. Some traders just don't come back after a big loss, either because they can't handle the emotional toll or they just never adjust their mindset. That's why resilience and a commitment to learning from mistakes is really what separates the long term survivors.
So move on. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. It's all,
do traders believe that they are smarter than the market?
yeah, a lot of times they do. That overconfidence can make them think they have a special edge or that they can outsmart the market. But the market is bigger and more unpredictable than any single trader. So staying humble and adaptable is really key if you want to last.
So why is patience so rare in trading?
Yeah, patience is really hard because everything moves so fast. But successful trading is often about waiting for the right setup, being comfortable sitting on your hands, not forcing trades just because you feel like you need to act. It's that calm, long game perspective that really pays off.
So why? So do traders confuse activity with productivity?
Yeah, that's a big one. If a trader's just chasing after quick recovery, they end up making more impulsive, less productive decisions. When they stay consistent, focusing on quality setups and sticking to their plan, they actually become more productive, even if it means waiting longer between trades.
Should people believe in quality or quantity?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some people get drawn to quantity because it feels like more activity equals more chances, but really, quality trades where you have a defined edge, those are what compound and build real success.
So you think quantity is better than quantity? Quality is better than quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. I think quality is really what drives sustainable success. It's better to wait for a strong setup, take fewer trades, but make them count, rather than just churning out lots of mediocre ones. That's where the real edge comes from.
So do you think in quantity there will be also quality?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can have a large number of trades, but if they're not grounded in a solid edge, they just become noise. So by focusing on fewer high quality trades, you actually improve your long term productivity and your odds of success.
So you should go for quality, not quantity.
Yeah, exactly. Quality really is the key. It keeps you disciplined, it reduces stress, and over time, those well picked trades are what actually build lasting success. So, yeah, it's definitely worth that patience.
So do traders focus more on winning than surviving?
Yeah, that's a big issue. A lot of traders get caught up in the thrill of the win. They focus on making money fast rather than just staying in the game. But real long term success is about surviving those tough periods, protecting your capital, and then growing steadily from there.
Yeah. So do traders
Exactly.
focus? Why is excitement prefer over discipline?
Yeah, that's really common. The excitement of a big win or a quick trade can feel so rewarding in the moment, but it distracts from that steady, patient discipline. So when they stay focused on the process rather than just the thrill, they actually set themselves up for longer term success.
So why is there a gap between knowing and doing?
Yeah, that's a big gap. Often it's because people measure success by just the outcome, winning or losing, without focusing on the quality of their decisions along the way. So the gap closes when they align their mindset, focusing on good execution, risk management, and staying process driven rather than just the outcome.
So do beginners understand the risk and underestimate risk?
Yeah, that's a real struggle. Beginners often underestimate how quickly small risks add up. They focus too much on potential gains and not enough on what they could lose. So it's crucial to really drill home that risk awareness early, understanding that even small losses matter a lot in the long run.
Or trading addiction to action?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big psychological pull. Like the act of trading itself can become an addiction, almost like a thrill seeking loop. And so that constant urge to act, even without a good reason, can really undermine a trader's discipline and risk management. So being mindful of that urge to constantly trade is really key.
Do traders trust their system or doubt it?
Yeah, that's a big tension. Trusting the system means you stick to your rules, even when it's tough or when doubt creeps in. If you don't, you start second guessing and making emotional trades. So, yeah, consistency and trust in the system really is what anchors success.
Are you trading to win or to feel better something?
Yeah, that's a really important reflection. A lot of times, traders chase wins to feel validated or to boost their confidence, but that can really derail their discipline. So it's crucial to check in and ask yourself, am I trading to execute my plan or just to feel a certain way? And that self awareness really helps.
Okay. Is your strategy bad or you are you is your strategy bad or your execution worse? Do you blame the market for your mistakes?
Yeah, that's a big trap. A lot of times traders blame the market or think the strategy is flawed when really it's about their execution, impatience, poor risk management, or straying from the pan. So the key is being honest and doing a real post trade review, seeing if the mistake was in the process, not just the outcome.
Okay, so are you truly ready to what trading demands?
Yeah, that's the real challenge, right? It's about staying in tune with the market's reality, not just your emotions. So a disciplined trader adjusts their strategy to market conditions, staying flexible but still anchored in their process. So they're not just reacting impulsively.
Most do not fail because they do not know. They fail because they cannot control themselves.
Yeah, that's so true. It's often not a lack of knowledge, it's that inability to manage their own impulses when they let emotions drive or when they just abandon their plan. So that self control piece is really the missing ingredient for a lot of them.
Uh, so everyone who has watched it here, thanks for watching and thanks for your time. Bye bye.